the age-based eligibility model. It has been approved by the NCAA, and NCAA president Charlie Baker seems fairly confident that this is going to kick in very, very soon. I think sometime in July, which July is pretty close from right now. We are already in late June. Under the new rules, athletes across all sports are going to get 5 years to complete 5 seasons. That's where the 5 for 5 comes into effect. This rule eliminates waivers. It eliminates redshirts. It eliminates any of the confusion with eligibility. Athletes will have 5 years to complete 5 seasons. So no more 6th years, no more 7th years, no more 8th years. 5, 4, 5. This rule is expected to kick in this summer, and it will apply to the new 2027 recruits. They will be the first recruiting class to only have the age-based model system. When does the clock start for these athletes? When does the 5 for 5 start? Can someone enter college at 21 years old and get 5 years? That's not exactly how it works. The clock starts when the athlete is either fully enrolled into college or following their 19th birthday, whichever actually comes first, based on the interpretation that I read of the rule. There are some exceptions to the 5 for 5 rule, and I think that these exceptions are pretty reasonable. I'm not going to argue with any of these exceptions here. Religious reasons, I think they worded it as religious missions, military service, and maternity leave. Those are avenues to where the clock, it doesn't restart for an athlete, but it would pause for the athlete, and I think we can all understand that those are valid reasons. Notice how injury is not listed. It's not listed, folks. Injuries suck. It is an unfortunate reality of sports. I think we all understand that, and nobody in their right mind is rooting for any athlete. I don't care if it's from a bitter rival, in fact. Nobody is rooting for injuries. We don't want to see them. We don't want to hear about them. We wish everyone to be healthy. We just want our team to win, but no one to get hurt. Having said that, I agree with this. I don't think that injuries, as bad as they may be and as sucky as it is for the person who suffers it and for the team and everything that goes along with it, as much as it sucks, I don't believe that you should be given a year of eligibility just because you suffered a major injury. And I know that this has recently benefited Syracuse, specifically Syracuse football and quarterback Steve Angeli, because he suffered an injury early on last season against Clemson. He tore his Achilles. We all understand how awful it was. It was terrible. And because he suffered it so early in the season, he's already been given an extra year of eligibility. He entered last year with 2 years of eligibility. He enters this season with 2 years of eligibility. We'll get to what it means for Steve Angeli in just a moment, but under the new format, if you are somebody that is in the 2027 recruiting class and you suffer a torn Achilles, as bad as it is, you don't get another year. And I agree with it. Now, what happens to athletes that are already graduated? Well, if an athlete is already out of eligibility, hate to break it to you, they are out of eligibility. So, I don't know, for example, J.J. Starling cannot come back to Syracuse basketball. I don't want J.J. Starling to come back, and he cannot come back regardless. If you are out of eligibility, this does not apply to you. The new model only will be available to current and future athletes of college sports. Now, I think the NCAA made a mistake here because we're already seeing reports online about lawsuits being filed about this. So they probably should have already done it earlier. But nevertheless, as it stands right now, if you are someone that recently graduated, you do not get an extra year of eligibility just because this system has or will kick in very, very soon. As far as current athletes are concerned, Athletes that have eligibility beyond the 2025-26 academic year, they're going to have a choice. The choice is, do they want to switch to the new format or stick with the old format, whichever they feel benefits them? So how this relates to Syracuse, well, in the case of Steve Angeli, I don't think he loses another year of eligibility. I think that he would retain that second year that he has because of the injury he suffered last year. My thoughts on this, I think I've outlined it pretty well. I think this is a really good move by the NCAA. I think that this is much needed. I think we needed to eliminate these 6th, 7th, 8th year guys out of college sports. I think the only mistake, as I said, is they should have implemented it sooner, and it should have applied to athletes that have already graduated, just to avoid the headache that is likely to come for the NCAA. But for all intents and purposes, I think the 5-for-5 is a very strong model. I'm glad that the red shirts are gone. I'm glad that waivers are gone. I'm glad that people that are 26 years old are no longer going to be available or eligible to play college sports. And I think it's very fair. It's not like it's completely eliminating redshirting. It just means that you have 5 years to complete 5 seasons. And I think that makes a ton of sense for college sports. As far as the effect on Syracuse, I don't really think it changes all that much because this would apply to every single program around the nation. Sure, I do believe that there are current 4th-year seniors that would all of a sudden get another year of eligibility under the 5-for-5 system. And if you're a younger guy who has not redshirted, you probably also get another year of eligibility based on the interpretation of the rule. For example, a guy like Demetres, who did not redshirt last year for Syracuse, I believe now, instead of having 3 years of eligibility, if he switches to the new format, which would benefit him to do, he would have 4 more years of eligibility. But if all goes according to plan for Demetres, he won't be in college for 3 or 4 more years because he'll be off to the NFL. Best wishes to him on that. But overall, I like it. 5-for-5 is here. I think this is good for Syracuse. I think this is good overall for college sports.